Last year, I made a bad investment. I didn't lose everything, but I lost enough to feel the sting. Why did I invest in that company? Was it a smart decision? A well-researched move? No, it was fear. Fear of missing out. Fear of being too late. Fear that everyone else knew something I didn't. So I clicked buy, not with logic but with emotion. And when the price fell, I felt panic. I watched the chart every hour. I couldn't sleep. It wasn't just money I lost, it was my peace. That experience taught me something big. In investing, your real enemy is not the market, it's your emotions. We think investing is about numbers, charts, predictions, but the truth is, it's more about how you manage yourself. The market goes up and down. That's normal. What hurts us most is how we react to it. When we see prices rise fast, we feel excited. We think, if I don't buy now, I'll miss it. So we rush in without thinking. Later, when prices drop, we feel fear. We think, it's over. I need to sell. So we rush out and take a loss. This pattern repeats for many people. They lose money not because they're stupid, but because they let feelings lead their actions. So how do we stay calm? How do we invest with wisdom, not worry? It starts with one habit: pause. Before you buy anything, pause. Before you sell anything, pause. Ask yourself, am I acting from fear or from reason? Will my future self thank me for this move? Sometimes the best thing to do is nothing. We must train our minds like athletes train their bodies, not to react fast, but to think clearly, to understand risk, to accept uncertainty, and most of all, to separate emotions from decisions. This doesn't mean you become cold or uncaring. It means you become balanced. Emotions are human. You can't erase them, but you can learn to observe them instead of letting them control you. Try this. When the market is crazy, take a walk. Breathe deeply. Look at your plan. Remind yourself why you started. Over time, you'll notice something powerful. You stop chasing every trend. You stop fearing every dip. You start making moves with more confidence and less chaos. And that peace, that clear-headed calm, that's more valuable than any quick profit. Because in the end, the goal is not just to grow your money. It's to grow your mind. To become the kind of person who stays steady when others shake. Who stays patient when others panic. Who understands real success is not fast. It's quiet. And it comes to those who wait wisely. Part 1. The mind that doesn't follow the crowd. There was once a man. He had a lot of money. But more than that, he had a strong mind. In 2008, the world fell apart. Banks failed. Markets crashed. People ran. Everywhere you could hear panic. News said, this is the end. Social media screamed, sell now? And most investors, they listened. They sold everything. Some lost 30%, some 50%, and some lost their peace. But this man he did not follow. He sat quietly. He read reports. He looked at numbers, not noise. And after the noise got louder, he did something strange. He bought. He bought when others were afraid. Not because he liked pain. Not because he enjoyed risk. But because he understood one deep truth. The price of an asset and the value of that asset are not always the same. When fear rises, price drops. But sometimes the value stays strong. This man didn't guess. He didn't hope. He acted because he saw something real, value hidden beneath fear. And later, when the world calmed down, his decision looked like genius. But really it was discipline. He didn't let emotion lead. He let logic lead. And logic needs space, space that panic never allows. So what can we take from this? You don't need millions. You don't need to be famous. But you do need a plan. and a mind that follows the plan even when emotions scream. Markets always move. Sometimes they dance. Sometimes they crash. But your brain, it must stay still. Because if you only act when others act, you will only win when they win and lose when they lose. And often the crowd loses. So next time the chart turns red, don't ask, what is everyone doing? Ask instead, is the value still there? Has the story of this company really changed? Is this a time to run or a time to wait? True investors don't chase the trend. They follow the truth. And truth often hides in quiet places, far from fear, far from noise. Maybe you don't have his wealth yet, but if you learn to think like him, clear, calm, and patient, you're already richer than most. Because in the world of investing, it's not just the brave who win, it's the wise. Part 2. The pen is mightier than the panic. There's something strange about our minds. When we think quietly, we feel clear. But when emotions rise, we forget. We forget logic. We forget our plans. We forget who we were before the noise came. And that's why every great investor has a quiet weapon. Not a complex algorithm, not a magic formula, but something simpler. A journal. Yes, writing. Old-fashioned, boring, beautiful writing. You see, when emotions try to take over, they move fast. They don't wait for facts. They just shout, sell now. Buy fast. Everyone is doing it. But the act of writing slows you down. It creates a small pause, and in that pause, you get your power back. Let me tell you a quick story. There was a young investor, full of passion and ambition. He read every book. He tracked every chart, but he also reacted fast. Too fast. Every small dip in the market, panic. Every big news headline, anxiety. He knew what he should do, but didn't do it. Then one day, a mentor gave him simple advice. Before you make any trade, write down why. That was it. Just write it down. At first, he didn't like it. It felt slow, annoying. But over time, something changed. Writing forced him to think clearly. He had to answer, what do I believe about this company? Am I buying because of value or because I'm bored? Am I selling because of data or just fear? He started to notice patterns. His bad trades always came when he acted fast with no notes. His best trades? When he had a clear, written reason. The journal became his mirror. It didn't lie. It didn't judge. It just showed him his mind, clearly. So what about you? If you're serious about mastering emotion in investing, don't just read charts. Read yourself. Before you click buy or sell, ask, what am I feeling? What am I fearing? What is the plan? And write it down. Even 1 or 2 lines can create a pause. And in that pause, you move from emotional to intentional. The goal is not to never feel. The goal is to feel but not be controlled. And sometimes all it takes is a pen. Part 3, the 24-hour rule. Time first, action later. Let's be honest. When the market moves fast, we want to move faster. Green candles make us greedy. Red charts make us scared. And our finger is always ready to buy, to sell, to do something. But here's a quiet truth. In investing, fast action is often wrong action. That's why some of the most successful investors follow a simple rule. Wait 24 hours before any big move. Sounds too easy, right? Too slow. Too boring. But that's exactly the point. Emotions are loud. They don't wait. They demand a reaction right now. But logic? Logic needs space. And the 24-hour rule gives you that space. Let me explain. Imagine this. You see the market crash 7% in one day. Your brain says sell now. But instead of acting, you stop. You write a note. I feel nervous. I want to sell. I think the trend is bad. Then you wait. You do nothing for one day. Next day, you reread the note. You look at the numbers again. You ask, is my fear still the same? Is the data really worse? Or just the headlines louder? Would I regret this decision 1 month from now? You might still decide to sell, but now it's not a reaction. It's a choice. This small pause creates a big shift. You move from emotional trader to thinking investor. You build discipline, one delay at a time. The 24-hour rule is not about avoiding action. It's about avoiding regret. Because think about it. How many times have you made a move too fast and felt sick after? How many times did fear or excitement lead and reason stayed silent? In this game, the ability to wait is not weakness. It's control. It's clarity. It's how you protect yourself from your own mind. Yes, you may miss a small win now and then, but you will avoid big, costly mistakes. And in the long run, that's how you win. So next time your heart races and your hands want to click, pause, breathe, set a 24-hour timer, because your money deserves more than a 5-second decision. And so do you. Part 4, losing is not failing. Let's face it, no one likes to lose, especially with money, especially when we tried our best. We buy a stock, a coin, a property. We believe in it. We study. We calculate. But then the market says, no, not today. And suddenly all the logic fades. And what's left? Shame, frustration, self-doubt. We say things like, I should have known. I'm not good at this. I'll never recover. But let me tell you something that most people won't say out loud. Loss is part of the process. In fact, if you never lose, you're probably not really investing. You're just playing it too safe. Even the best investors lose. Warren Buffett? He lost billions on airlines during COVID. Ray Dalio? His firm almost collapsed in the 1980s because of a bad call. But they didn't quit. They didn't fall in love with the win or hate themselves for the loss. They kept learning. Here's something I learned the hard way. The goal is not to avoid loss. The goal is to lose well. What does that mean? It means you accept that risk is real. You don't panic or blame others. You look at the decision, not just the result. You ask, did I follow my plan? Instead of just, did I win? I remember one trade where I lost $4,000 in 2 days. It wasn't a scam. It wasn't a stupid choice. It was just the market being the market. I felt sick. I wanted to run. But instead, I opened my journal. I wrote everything I had done, the why, the what, the how. And you know what I found? I had followed my system. I had placed a stop loss. I had managed my risk. I had done everything right and still lost. That day taught me something powerful. A good loss is better than a lucky win, because a good loss teaches you what kind of investor you are, how strong your strategy is, how to stay calm when things go wrong. But a lucky win, it often teaches you nothing. Or worse, it makes you overconfident. So next time you lose money, don't hide. Don't pretend it didn't hurt, but don't let it define you. You are not your last result. Sit down, breathe, write, review, and ask, what did I learn from this that will make me better next time? Because losing money is temporary, but learning from it, that's forever. Part 5, don't compare, don't chase. There was a time I bought a solid stock. I had done my homework. Strong company, fair price, good long-term plan. I felt proud until the next week. My friend showed me a meme coin that jumped 70%. Another said he doubled his money with options. On Twitter, people were making millions in days. Suddenly, my safe investment felt stupid, boring, slow, small, and worst of all, I felt left behind. That's the danger of comparison. It turns your clear plan into a blurry mess. It replaces long-term logic with short-term jealousy. The market already plays with your emotions. But comparison? It hits your ego. You start asking the wrong questions. Why am I not getting rich faster? Should I switch to what they're doing? What if I miss out? That fear of missing out, FOMO, is not just about money. It's about identity. We want to win, but more than that. We want to win faster than others. We want to feel smart, ahead, superior. But here's the truth that no one tells you. Every investor has their own season. Every asset has its own rhythm. And every shortcut has a cost. When you chase what's hot, you're not investing, you're reacting. You're following noise, not wisdom. The best investors? They don't move faster because others do. They move when their plan tells them to. And here's something I learned that changed how I invest. Success is not about catching every wave. It's about staying on your board and not falling off when the water gets rough. You might not double your money in a week, but you'll sleep at night. You'll understand your own portfolio, and you won't panic when the trend changes because your foundation is strong. So next time someone shows you their 100% gain, smile. Congratulate them. Then return to your plan because their path is not yours and your goals are not their goals. And remember, you're not too slow. You're not behind. You're just focused. Real wealth doesn't come from rushing. It comes from knowing who you are, what you're building, and refusing to trade your peace for someone else's moment of glory. Part 6. Build a system, not a mood. Let me ask you something simple. How do you decide when to buy, when to sell, when to hold? If your answer starts with, I feel like, we have a problem. Because markets don't care how you feel. And your feelings, as human and honest as they are, change too fast to build wealth on. One day, you feel hopeful. You buy more. The next day, you see red numbers. You panic. You sell everything. Then prices go back up and now you're stuck. You feel stupid, angry, lost. Not because the market tricked you, but because you didn't have a system. You only had a mood. A system is like a map. It doesn't change when the weather does. It keeps you on track even when your emotions scream. Turn back. This looks scary. Your system doesn't have to be perfect, but it has to be yours. It can be simple. Buy only when the stock is undervalued by 20%. Sell when you hit a certain gain or loss. Review your portfolio monthly, not daily. The point is not complexity. The point is consistency. Because here's the truth. You will have bad days. You will have fear. You will doubt your choices. But if you have a system, you don't have to trust your feelings. You trust the plan you made when you were calm. And that is power. I once lost 30% in a volatile week. My mind wanted to run, but my system said, stay. You prepared for this. So I stayed. A month later, the market recovered. My strategy worked. And most importantly, my trust in myself grew. Without a system, every investment is a gamble. With one, every decision is part of a bigger picture. So here's your question today. Do you want to feel smart or be smart? Because smart investors don't chase excitement. They build quiet, repeatable actions. They take emotions into account, but never let emotions take the wheel. So if you're tired of being ruled by mood, start small. Write your rules. Stick to them. Review them calmly, not emotionally. And over time, you'll stop asking, what should I do today? Instead, you'll simply say, what does my system say? And that's when investing becomes less stressful and a lot more powerful. Part 7. Know you're enough. One of the most dangerous numbers in investing is this: just a little more. You tell yourself, if I can make $10,000, I'll be happy. Then you make it and want $20,000. You think, when I double my portfolio, I'll stop stressing. You double it, and then you want more. Where does it end? Here's the truth nobody tells you. If you don't define enough, no amount will ever be. The world will always offer you a bigger number, a hotter stock, a faster way to grow. And your brain, your hungry, ambitious brain, will say, go, go, go. But what if more is not always better? What if chasing more is the very thing making you anxious, tired, and never satisfied? I once met a man who made millions in the market. He had more than enough to retire at 45, but he didn't stop. He said, I'm almost at the next level. Then came a crash. He lost half of it in 1 month. Now, he's still working, not because he has to, but because he never stopped chasing. He forgot his enough. In investing, as in life, you need a finish line. Not because you want to stop running, but because you want to know when to slow down, breathe, and enjoy the view. Here's something I've learned. Enough is not a number. It's a feeling, a place where you can sleep at night, where your money supports your values, not your stress, where your choices match your peace, not your pride. So how do you know you're enough? Ask, what am I really investing for? When will I feel safe? What life do I want? And does my money plan support that? Write down your answers. Let them guide your risk. Let them shape your strategy. Because once you know you're enough, you stop comparing. You stop chasing. You stop needing every trade to be perfect. You start investing like someone who already has value, not someone who's still trying to earn it. So next time you're tempted to take one more risky trade, to push past your limits for just a little more, pause. Ask yourself, would this decision make my life better or just bigger? And remember, more is a moving target, but enough can give you freedom. Part 8. Forgive your past, invest forward. Let me tell you something many investors won't admit. We all have that one trade, that one moment, where we bought too late, or sold too early, or ignored every warning sign. You know the one I mean. Maybe it was that hot stock that went cold. Maybe it was the panic sell that cost you thousands. Maybe it was the time you didn't act and missed your biggest chance. And ever since then, a small voice in your head says, you're not good at this. You always mess up. Remember what happened last time. That voice, it's not the market talking. It's your past trying to lead your future. But here's the thing. Your worst decision doesn't get to define you unless you let it. The market moves on. So should you. Think about this. If you touched a hot stove once, would you stop cooking forever? Of course not. You'd learn, be more careful, and keep cooking, just smarter next time. Investing is the same. Mistakes are not proof that you're broken. They are proof that you were in the game. And being in the game means you will lose sometimes. But it also means you're learning, growing, getting better. One of the smartest investors I know once told me, my biggest growth came after my biggest loss, not before it. Why? Because failure humbled him. It made him pause, rethink, and rebuild, not on emotion, but on truth. So how do you forgive yourself? Start with this simple truth. You did the best you could with the knowledge, emotions, and pressure you had at that time. And now, you're not that same person anymore. You're wiser, more experienced. You've earned your scars. Instead of replaying the past, Start recording your now. Track what you've learned. Celebrate the trades where you followed your system. Write down every small win, even if it's just not panicking when the market drops. This is how you heal, not by erasing the past, but by refusing to let it lead. So the next time you feel that sting of regret, pause, breathe, and say, that was then, this is now. Because every investor falls. The great ones, they stand up with clearer eyes and a stronger heart, and they invest forward. Part 9. Stay boring, stay rich. Let's be honest. Boring is not sexy. It doesn't get likes on social media. It doesn't make you feel like a genius. It's not flashy, fast, or loud. But you know what else it's not? It's not panicking at 2 a.m. because of a crypto crash. It's not chasing trends you don't understand. It's not losing sleep over a meme stock. Boring is checking your portfolio once a month, and it's fine. Boring is buying index funds and holding them for 10 years. Boring is rebalancing, not reacting. And guess what? Boring works. The best investors I've met, they don't make 100 trades a day. They don't jump on every new thing. They sit. They wait. They let time do the heavy lifting. Because here's the truth. Excitement often loses money. Excitement makes you feel like you're doing something. But doing more doesn't mean doing better. Think of the tortoise and the hare. The market is full of hares, running fast, getting headlines, burning out. But the tortoises, they finish the race. Warren Buffett once said, lethargy, bordering on sloth, remains the cornerstone of our investment style. That's a billionaire telling you, do less, think more. So why is boring so hard? Because we live in a world that rewards action. If I'm not trading, I'm falling behind. If I'm not checking the charts, I'll miss something. But ask yourself, what kind of investor do you want to be? The one who's busy or the one who's building? Here's a trick. Next time you feel bored with your portfolio, smile. That boredom, it means your plan is working. It means you're not gambling, you're growing. So track your emotions, not just your returns. If you're constantly excited or stressed, you're probably overtrading. But if your investments feel calm, you're probably on the right track. It's not that you can't be creative or curious. It's that you use that creativity in designing a good system, and then you stick with it. Because in investing, boring isn't lazy. Boring is wise. Boring is peaceful. Boring is rich. Part 10. Remember why you started. Every investor has a day one. Maybe it was the first time you watched your savings grow, or the moment you realized working 9 to 5 forever wasn't your dream. Or perhaps it was a quiet afternoon when you asked yourself, is there a smarter way to live? That was your spark. The moment you said, I want freedom. I want peace. I want to build something. But along the way, it's easy to forget. The charts get noisy. The market gets messy. The world throws new distractions at you every day. And soon, you're not building your life. You're just reacting to headlines. You check your phone 10 times a day. You chase gains you don't understand. You feel more anxious than excited, more tired than free. So let me ask you, is this the life you wanted when you started? If not, pause. Go back. Not today, one in your account. Today, one in your heart. That moment when you weren't trying to beat the market. You were trying to build a better life. You wanted enough money so you could spend time with people you love. You wanted freedom to say no to things that don't feel right. You wanted peace, not just profit. Don't trade that away. It's okay to want growth. It's smart to care about returns. But don't forget, numbers are just tools. You're building a life, not just a portfolio. So write it down. What does success look like to you? What does peace feel like to you? and then let your investments serve that, not the other way around. Because when you invest with clarity, you don't panic with the crowd. When you invest with purpose, you don't chase what others chase. And when you remember why you started, you keep going, even on the hard days, especially on the hard days. So today, take a breath. Look at how far you've come, not just in money, but in mindset. You've learned to sit still when others run. You've learned to say no when easy pleasure knocks. You've learned to protect your energy, your attention, your future. And maybe most of all, you've learned that calm is a strategy. This isn't the end. This is just a stronger beginning. So keep your system, keep your heart, keep your why, and let that be your compass every step forward. Wealth is an inside job. Let's take a step back. After 10 quiet, honest conversations, after walking through stories of fear, greed, regret, boredom, pride, and peace, what did we really learn? Yes, we talked about markets. Yes, we talked about money. But more than anything, we talked about you. Because behind every stock click, behind every trade, every late night refresh, is a human heart trying to feel safe, a mind trying to make sense of noise, a person asking, am I doing the right thing? And the truth is, the real game was never the market. The real game is mastering yourself. You don't need to be a genius to build wealth. You need patience when things get loud. You need courage when fear whispers. You need clarity when others are chasing. You don't need 1,000 strategies. You need one system you trust and the discipline to follow it. And when that discipline gets hard, you don't need motivation. You need memory. Memory of why you started. Memory of what peace feels like. Memory that you don't need to win every day. You just need to keep walking. So, if you ever feel lost again, when the market crashes, when a trend tempts you, when your brain says do something, but your heart says wait, just pause. Remember, your strength isn't in your speed. It's in your steadiness. Your edge isn't your timing. It's your temperament. Your true wealth? It's not what you gain, but what you keep. And not just in money, but in calm, in time and joy. This is not the end of your journey. This is the part where you return wiser, less reactive, more intentional, less shaken, more sure. You are no longer just a person chasing returns. You are a builder, a keeper, a calm investor in a noisy world. And when the next storm comes, you won't be shaken, because now you know where your strength really lives, not in prediction, not in perfection, but in your ability to pause, to choose to stay. Stay calm, stay boring, stay you, and let your wealth grow, not just in numbers, but in how deeply and peacefully you live